Okay,
My apologies.
You're
My
okay.
apologies.
Thank you, Cancurla. And I just too want to support this affordable housing bill. It's urgently needed. I think we need to get it through as soon as possible. I too would have had, over the years, made several representations for people who didn't qualify to go on the housing list and then they couldn't get a mortgage. And what I would say now, Minister, is the new working poor. I was working with a couple even there last week, among many of couples I'm working with, and they both had good jobs. And by the time they paid the rent, because they didn't qualify to go on the housing list, by the time they paid their childcare and they tried to save for a mortgage, they absolutely qualified for nothing. And it's so hard now that we have people working so hard that do not qualify to go on the housing list and they do not qualify to get a mortgage. So I would ask that this get through as soon as possible. The other issue is, again, another area that I've been contacted by as well, is parents have come into me where they have grown adults living at home and they all have jobs. Again, they can't get a house. They don't qualify to go on the housing list and they don't qualify for a mortgage. There's such a gap here that if we don't get this sorted now, I believe there will be a lot of people out there that will never have a home to call their own, and all people will be doing is renting for the rest of their lives, or they'll actually be staying at home with their families. And this has become a huge issue for all of us. I know for Carlow County Council, our cap is only 27,500. It's unacceptable. It just means that there's so many people that do not qualify to go on the housing list. It's so unfair on them. So we need to get this affordable housing bill through. We need to make sure that we build houses, because the biggest issue is lack of supply of housing. And that's an area I know all of us have been addressing. But also even to see affordable houses being built in your own area, where you have job creation, where we're crying out for apprenticeships now. We need to get, people back in apprenticeships, and that is so important. And this, I think, can do it, but we need to get it right. I totally agree with Deputy O'Keefe. We've got to get this right. We've got to get the houses built. We've got to stay local. We've got to make sure that the Carlows and the Kilkennys are not forgotten. And it's something that I just feel from talking to people that they just feel disheartened, because, Minister, everyone deserves a home and everyone has a right to a home. And I just feel this is an area that Fianna Fáil and the government can deliver on for the country. And I think we have to do it. We have got to get this right. So I would ask that this bill would go through as soon as possible. I was actually speaking to the Director of Housing there recently in Carlow County Council, and I was delighted to see that they're actually availing of the incremental purchase scheme. And as you know, this scheme will offer many families the possibility of owning their own homes. And this is another thing that I would have highlighted over the years. People, on the housing list too, they want that chance to own their own home. They want to have, like they've worked hard, they feel they need that chance, and we need to give it to them. So that's another thing that I'm delighted that Carlow County Council are working on. The other thing I would say is I feel that we need to get our local authorities now to move on this quickly once we get the legislation passed. But I just feel we need to get the information out there. I think we need to do a campaign. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding about what can happen when this does go through. But the main thing is, and again, we cannot have barriers. We cannot have red tape. We cannot have people coming back and saying, I don't qualify for this or I can't get it. We need to make sure that the people that cannot go on the housing list, that cannot get a mortgage, that they qualify for the affordable housing scheme. And for one thing, I just believe, I was speaking even recently to a lot of people my own age that have children, and they were saying to me even that a lot of their own children now are living with them. And, while that's all welcome and we want to welcome that, but if you don't give people the opportunity now to have their own home, I think we're doing them a disfavour. And I think, we have a duty of care to look after people, that they can have their own home, and it's not through any fault of their own that they don't have one. So again, I just want to really promote this bill. I'm asking that it would get support from the full House here, that we all support it, and that we get it through as soon as possible, and we make sure that everybody has the right to a house. Thank you very much.